Right now, somewhere in the back of your mind, you are being watched, not by a camera, not by a person standing behind you, by your own brain. It is running a quiet, constant simulation of every person who has ever looked at you, judged you, or might be thinking about you at this exact moment. It has been doing this your entire life. And the strangest part is that you cannot turn it off, no matter how hard you try. You have probably been told it is insecurity, maybe low self-esteem, maybe anxiety, but those are labels, not answers. The real answer goes back much further than your childhood, further than your culture, further than the invention of social media or mirrors or reputation. It goes back to a problem your ancestors faced every single day for 2 million years. And the solution they evolved to solve that problem is the same thing that makes you replay an awkward conversation at 3 in the morning. So why can you not stop thinking about what people think of you? The answer begins with a number, specifically 150. In 1992, a British anthropologist named Robin Dunbar published a paper that quietly changed how scientists think about human cognition. He was studying primates, and he noticed something strange. The bigger a primate species' neocortex, the part of the brain responsible for complex thinking, the larger the social group that species tended to live in. He ran the numbers for humans and arrived at a figure, 150. That is roughly the maximum number of people your brain can track as genuine social relationships at one time. Not acquaintances, not followers. Actual relationships where you know who they are, how they relate to each other, and how they feel about you. This is now called Dunbar's number, and it tells you something profound about what your brain was designed to do. Your brain is, at its core, a social tracking machine. It did not evolve primarily to solve math problems or write poetry. It evolved to keep you alive inside a group, and the most dangerous thing that could happen to you inside that group was to be rejected from it. Think about what that meant for your ancestors. They lived in bands of roughly 100 to 150 people. No grocery stores, no hospitals, no way to survive alone. If you were expelled from your group, you did not just feel bad about it, you died. Alone in the savannah, without fire, without tools, without anyone to watch your back at night, your odds of surviving more than a few weeks were almost zero. Social rejection was not a bruised ego, it was a death sentence. Your brain learned this lesson so thoroughly that it wired social monitoring directly into your survival circuitry. The same neural systems that process physical pain also process social rejection. Researchers Matthew Lieberman and Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA discovered this in a landmark 2003 study using fMRI brain scans. When participants in their study were excluded from a simple ball-tossing game by people they had never even met, the brain lit up in the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the exact same region that activates when you stub your toe or burn your hand. Your brain does not distinguish between a broken bone and a broken friendship. Both register as damage. Both trigger the same alarm. This is why a stranger's passing glance can make your heart rate spike. This is why a 1-star review of something you made can ruin your entire afternoon. This is why you rehearse what you are going to say before a phone call and then replay what you actually said for hours after. Your brain is not overreacting. It is doing exactly what it was built to do. It is running its ancient survival software in a world that no longer needs it quite so desperately. But it goes even deeper than pain. There is a specific cognitive mechanism called the spotlight effect, and once you know about it, you will see it everywhere. The psychologist Thomas Gilovich at Cornell University ran a series of experiments in the early 2000s, asking participants to walk into a room full of people wearing a mildly embarrassing t-shirt, one with a face printed on it. The participants consistently predicted that the majority of people in the room would notice and remember the shirt. When the researchers actually asked the people in the room, only about half as many had noticed at all. You believe you are standing in a spotlight. You believe other people are watching your every move, cataloging your mistakes, storing them for later. But they are not. They are in their own spotlight, worrying about their own shirt. The spotlight effect is not vanity. It is the trace of a brain that evolved to monitor social signals so carefully that it begins to overgenerate them, to see eyes everywhere, because missing a real pair of eyes watching you could have been fatal. Here is the part that most people miss entirely. The anxiety you feel about other people's opinions is not just a defense mechanism. It is also a social tool. Humans are the only species on the planet that built civilization. And the engine underneath that civilization is reputation. You needed other people to trust you, to trade with you, to defend you, to choose you as a partner. Reputation was currency, and just like money, you tracked it obsessively. The anthropologist Sarah Matthew has spent years studying cooperation in large human societies, and her research shows that reputation management is not a side effect of social life. It is the foundation of it. Societies function because individuals care deeply and constantly about what others think of them. Take away that that care and the whole structure collapses. So the voice in your head that worries about how you came across at dinner last Tuesday is not your enemy. It is an ancient reputation accountant, and for most of human history, it was indispensable. The problem is mismatch. Your brain evolved to monitor 150 people whose opinions actually determined your survival. Now, it is trying to apply the same machinery to an Instagram feed with 40,000 followers, a comment section with hundreds of strangers, a world where the number of people who can weigh in on your existence is effectively unlimited. Your reputation accountant was built for a village. You handed it a city of millions and told it to keep track. No wonder it is exhausted. No wonder you are. Psychologist Mark Leary, who has spent decades studying what he calls the sociometer, describes self-esteem not as a feeling about yourself, but as a gauge, a real-time readout of how accepted you believe you are by the people around you. When the gauge drops, it triggers anxiety, self-doubt, and a desperate drive to adjust your behavior. When it rises, the anxiety quiets. Leary argues that self-esteem is not a goal in itself. It is a warning system. And just like your smoke alarm, it is not designed to be comfortable. It is designed to be impossible to ignore. This reframes everything. When you feel insecure before a presentation, your sociometer is reading the room. When you obsessively scroll back through a text conversation trying to figure out if you said something wrong, your sociometer is recalibrating. When you get a compliment and feel a rush of warmth spread through your chest, that is not just happiness. That is your brain registering. Still accepted, still safe, still in the group. You cannot think your way out of this with logic, because logic is not where the signal comes from. The signal comes from a part of your brain that is older than language, older than thought. It speaks in feelings, not sentences. But knowing this changes something. When you catch yourself spiraling over what someone might think of you, you are not broken. You are not weak. You are running ancient software on modern hardware. You are a human being doing exactly what 2 million years of survival pressure prepared you to do. The worry is not a character flaw. It is a feature that became a bug the moment the world got too big for the brain that evolved to navigate it. There is a practice that researchers like Kristen Neff at the University of Texas have found genuinely interrupts this loop. Not positive thinking, not affirmations. Something she calls self-compassion, which is simply treating the moment of social anxiety the same way you would treat a friend who came to you panicking about the same thing. You would not tell a friend they are pathetic for worrying about rejection. You would tell them that it is human, that it makes sense, that the fear is old and loud, but it is not the truth. Your brain runs its social surveillance constantly because once, in a world made of 150 people and real darkness and real predators, it had to. That world is mostly gone, but the software remains. Scanning, calculating, alert. Tonight, when you catch yourself replaying a conversation that happened 3 days ago, trying to decode whether a pause meant something, notice what is actually happening. Your ancient brain is doing its job. It is keeping you in the group. It is keeping you safe. The same machinery that once kept your ancestors alive around the fire is the thing that makes you reread your own text message 4 times before you send it. You never outgrow the need to belong. You just stop understanding why the need is so loud. Now you do.